Hey guys, welcome to the short podcast where we'll discuss the way to navigate the fretboard. Namely, I have three main systems I use, and I even have an acronym for this. You know me, I'm Mark at Jazz Guitar Lessons, and we use the acronym three-way Fretboard Navigation System, three-way FNS for short. So what I want to do in the podcast is describe the three approaches, some of their benefits, some of the drawbacks, and also perhaps expose you to some of the ideas about each ways to address the guitar fretboard, because of course we have 6 strings and like 24 frets, so there's different ways to compartmentalize. I can't say that word in English. I can't say it. Compartimentaliser would be in French. So create compartments, create subdivisions. So let's get going. Welcome to Jazz Guitar Lessons, where we help guitarists learn jazz faster, express themselves more fluently, and have fun along the way. My name is Mark, and if you're looking to learn jazz, form better practice habits, and especially if you enjoy a French accent, make sure to subscribe. Before we get started, I'll tell you the three main ways, and we'll dig deeper into each. So the first one is the position system, the vertical way, sticking my left hand in a single place, and then playing all of the available notes within that range. So that's pretty simple. You guys have probably gotten your entry point into jazz guitar and playing scales with that way of looking at the fretboard. The second way is going to be horizontal, and I'll dig more into that later. And the third way is sort of a blend of both approaches, which I call the diagonal. So this is a podcast. It's not very visual. There's also an associated YouTube video with that lesson, so you can see hands-on what I'm doing on the camera. But still, if you're listening to this in your car or walking the dog or whatever, or in the shower, you may be, it's a good refresher, a good mental model to think of how to address the fingerboard. Thus, number one, let's just begin with the vertical approach. Assume I set up my left hand on the fretboard and I arrange for my 4 fingers on the fretboard to align perfectly with 4 frets. That would be the definition of position, if you will. And furthermore, I will add to this that we can cheat out with the 2 external fingers. So namely, my index can go out 1 fret and my pinky can go out 1 fret. This means that my left hand can, without moving laterally left or right, can cover a total of 6 frets. So 4 fingers plus one on the left, 1 on the right, and for the 6 strings. This is a big range. This is like 2 octaves and a half. This is pretty much what, say, saxophone players have access to on their instrument. It's a big range to cover. So people say, I'm just going to do everything position. There's some truth to that. There's some benefits to doing that. And the main benefit is that if I am in a position, there's no note duplication. If I'm looking for a certain pitch, say it's a C note at this certain frequency, it should be only found in one location. With the exception of when I stretch out the 6 frets, then I may encounter it twice. Could I? Sorry, let me think about this. Yes, ultimately, because of the way the G and B strings are tuned, you would get that 6 frets apart. You would get that same pitch. But other than that, if you don't stretch out, you will be fine with one pitch, one location. This aids in the development of learning or quickly accessing scales without saying, well, there's 5 places where that actual pitch is on the guitar. Which should I pick? Well, you narrow it down, you stick your left hand in position, and you have your scale, and you have the whole world. So you have the chromatic scale on 2 octaves. You have all the arpeggios, all scales, everything, all the music that's ever been played in this register, in this range, is all available. It's crazy, right? So really good. And the way people go about extending that knowledge is that they will learn several blocks, namely a position system would be the CAGED system, which is an acronym for CAGED, which are the open chord positions. So they look like these open chords, and it allows us to create 5 distinct places on the fretboard in which we stick our hands and we just play the scale. So it's a matter of learning the pattern of thoughts, and then you're all set. Of course, there's more that goes into playing music than just that, but that's a good entry point. Another system that's a bit more refined that I used, it's called I guess the Berkeley system, or the William Levitt, the modern method system, which has 7 positions. It's not any better or worse, but it fills in 2 gaps that the CAGED system did not have. So it's like, learn it, take it. It's easy, guys. Just learn it, right? You can see this in the vault on the fellowship, free link in description for the tabs. I guess it's in the key of C or G. I don't know, it's fully tabbed over all the 7 positions. There's even a video of me playing this like 15 years ago on YouTube with my blue shirt, and there it is, those are the positions. Caveats. This approach has a warning, and it also has an added benefit I'll get to. So the warning is when people first get into jazz and they get intermediate, they believe they have to learn everything in a position because it's more efficient. It may be more efficient in terms of locating a note, but it's not necessarily in terms of phrasing. Case in point, watch really good jazz guitarists like Wes Montgomery, Kenny Burrell, Pat Metheny. They will not stay in a position for the sake of staying in a position. What dictates where the left hand goes is the phrasing or the line where it takes it. It's not because the notes we would need are not available. It just means that it would be better phrased in a shift, right? So that's a big drawback. Like, don't look at a thing and go, oh yeah, I'm learning bebop heads now, right? I've heard this a million times, by the way. I'm learning Donnelly, and first I have to learn Donnelly in this position, and then the next one. I need, whoever, Joe Blow, jazz mentor online, told me I need to learn Donnelly in at least 5 positions. And here's my take on this. How about we learn Donnelly in one way, which may go through several positions because certain phrases will lend themselves better to certain scale positions. The fingerings will be easier. The trill are going to be easier on the hands. It's going to be faster and more appropriate for the accents and the phrases, the musical phrases. So let's do it that way, so that maybe there's a bar or two of Donnelly that's here, and I'm pointing in the empty. You can't see me on the podcast, but I'm here. And then maybe bar 3, 4, 5, and 6 are over there, and maybe I come back and I have a slight shift of one finger. So here's the drawback. Don't become pedantic with positions. That's it. Learn them, do all the patterns, and here's the added benefit or the secret sauce to this. When I got into the positions and really nailed them, one of my instructors, really smart, Gary, said, okay, yes, you got the positions, but now you have to link them, okay? So whenever I'm in a position, I always consider the position that would be below it, so to the left on the fretboard, and the one that would be above it, to the right on the fretboard, with a single finger shift. It could be a half step shift, typically like a 1 fret, or it could be different. Doesn't really matter, but the point is it's never about that thing in isolation. It's that scale position and where it could potentially go up or down. So therefore, instead of being stuck with that 4 frets, I have the 4 frets plus the 4 frets below that and the 4 frets above that. So basically I wind up with, just thinking of a single position, I wind up with an 8 to 10 fret coverage of the fretboard, which is like the entire fretboard, if you don't mind me. Hey guys, just a quick note. If you're enjoying this content and you're eager to boost your own jazz guitar playing, then connect with us. We've transformed the jazz skills of thousands of guitarists. You can find the link in the description or head directly over to jazzguitarlessons.net to begin your journey. All right, let's dive back into the episode. Let's move on to the second way, and it's going to be pretty easy, pretty fast. It's the horizontal way. The Mick Goodrick book, The Advancing Guitarist, talks about this at length. He has a method on how to decipher it and set it up. I'll give you the raw TLDR feedback on this. You look at the fretboard, you pick the key, assume it's G major, and line up all of the notes of the G major scale on a single string between fret 0 and fret 12, right? Open string to fret 12 or above. The only thing that will come out of this is the mapping out of the whole steps and the half steps. If you look at a major scale, you have 2 half steps between the note 7 and 1 and between the note 3 and 4, right? That's it. That's what you're looking at. And just playing the scales like this is pretty easy. You will nail it in 10 seconds and then go, now what? Well, here's a now what. And what Mick Goodrick proposes in his book. He says you should put a chord on, like a vamp or a riff or, a comping of sorts, even on a mode, or the mode can be the major scale or it could be a blues, whatever. And then we improvise. Why is that? Because with that small constraint of just a single string at a time, which Mick Goodrick calls the unitar, the instrument with a single string. On the unitar, if I don't make music, it sounds terrible. Because that's all I have to do. I go up, it's higher in pitch. I go down, slower in pitch. And I don't have access to my good old patterns or muscle memory. I really gotta mean and hear what I'm playing for this to make sense. So improvising lots on one string at a time is a really good idea for hearing mini melodies and seeing how far the jumps are melodically. If I go from the tonic of the piece, the 1 to the 5, 6, or 7th note, it's a high jump, man. It's like 10 frets. Like you got to go way up. So since the technique is not really relevant, or we don't need a lot of technique, all we have left is focusing on the music, on the ideas, and making it sound good. Okay, so that's a caveat. The thing is, yeah, single string, so what? Do it on one string today, move to the next string tomorrow, and the day after move to the next string, etc., and improvise on the same tune or progression, or even on a single chord. With a looper pedal, that works super well. So doing that maps out the fretboard in a way that's completely the contrast or the opposite, or the film negative of the positions system. It's the other way around, vertical versus horizontal, right? That's it. The main benefit and the holy grail of that approach will be to map two strings at once, two adjacent strings. That's where the magic is, in my opinion, in the Mick Goodrick book, in that after I have these two strings and I play a lot of lines and I feel super constrained. It's small. I've just had the one string, and once I had a second string, all of these leaps and bounds and lines start to take form. I'm still only on two strings, but mini patterns will emerge mentally, and that's the beauty. I think this helped me have my positions even more solid on my fretboard, technically speaking. But again, be mindful. Don't try to shred on just two strings. Well, you can if you want. You can do anything. But it's important to see, like, how much music can I make according to that constraint, which is a big recurring theme through, jazz guitar lessons, the blog, the YouTube, and the ways I've been doing the coaching for the year, throughout the years. By the way, if you're looking for an approach that is no nonsense, that's more of the meta, like organizing my practice approach, building vocabulary, knowing how to add tunes in a jazz vernacular to your repertoire, check out the Pinnacle method. It's free. It's a roadmap and ebook I wrote along with video series, and you can get that in the description as well. Now let's dig into the third portion of fretboard navigation, the three-way fretboard navigation system, or FNS. Vertical and horizontal have been covered. Now we get into what I call the diagonal realm. I don't want to spend too much time on this because the video lends itself better for that, but I'll tell you the point is to blend both approaches, namely the arithmetic of it, or the algorithm of it, is to play more notes per string during the same scales. For instance, if I play a scale position, if you look at the fretboard, you go like, yeah, on a given string, typically I have 2 or 3 notes. If I'm playing a pentatonic scale, the typical fingering is 2 notes per string. With a diagonal approach, I add notes to the same string before moving on to the next string. For instance, 3 notes per string is a good way to get into that. It just yields completely different fingerings, and your left hand moves up quite a bit, up and down. Not as much as on a single string at a time, but still, right? So you can explore 3 notes per string. You can explore 4 notes per string, or 4 notes on a string, then the next has 3, 4, 3, 4, 3, etc. Just to explore and see where the half notes fall and what fingerings feel more comfortable to you. It's just a worthwhile exploration. And I'll leave you with that thought. There's a way to organize diagonal fingerings that I love, that I worked on extensively, that is octave identical fingerings, which is sort of a term I coined, which would mean that if I play C, D, E on a certain string, say the 5th string, the fret 3, 5, and 7, da-da-da, if I do my job well, I should wind up with the next sequence of C, D, E with the same fingers, an octave up. And then the same fingers an octave up again. I detailed this in the video about the three-way FNS, in that it just solidifies the link between my hearing and my fingerings, because muscle memory can kick in. And in the video I described, I guess it's a G major bebop scale, and I showed it in 3 different very fixed positions versus doing it diagonally with octave identical fingerings. If I do octave identical, it's a no-brainer. Like, the fingers repeat themselves. So it's similar to what a keyboard player experiments. You play your thing over an octave. After you learn that octave, any other octave, high or low, can and should be played by the same digits. So that's how I do it. So there you have it. That's the 3-way fretboard navigation system. Let me know if you have any questions about this. Check out, of course, the rest of the podcast episodes for tips on chord melody, improvising, some theory, minor 2-5-1s. You can also see the YouTube channel for hundreds of videos, long and short, about any or all of these topics. Join the Jazz Guitar Fellowship, which is, of course, a free group of now 4,000 guitarists worldwide. You can pin yourself on a map, see there's a bunch of friends that are doing exactly like you. And, of course, I'll see you on the blog, which has hundreds of articles, sheet music, everything for free. So I'll see you there, and I'll talk to you very soon. Thanks for watching. Bye.